Hello, another opportunity to bring you your program Legends of Our Time on GBC News and Ghana Television. My name is Gifty Eji. Now my guest for today is a veteran who fought during the Second World War on behalf of the then colonial masters, the British. Again, he happens to be the only surviving ex-serviceman who was involved in the famous 28 February 1948 Christiansborg Castle road shooting incident. My guest for today is ex-private Ashitei Hammond. Hello, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, too.
It's an honor.
I'm glad.
I'm
glad I'm back again with broadcasting.
Okay, so you turned 95 years this year.
About a week ago, on the 10th of May.
Okay.
This month, 95.
And how does it feel to be 95? What are the challenges and the advantages?
I've never celebrated my birthday before.
Okay.
Because from the inception of birthdays, the first birthday, a man was hanged. King Pharaoh's time. The second one was King John the Baptist. You remember? They killed him. They cut his head off because of certain history. I think you know all. So I decided not at all to celebrate. I just pray to the Almighty God to grant me more life and then years. But to celebrate, no. Because when Jesus came, Jesus didn't celebrate his birthday.
So there's no way.
I am a real Christian.
Okay.
But I didn't see anything in the Bible that showed that Jesus Christ celebrated his birthday. So I don't do that.
So
he is my teacher.
Okay. 95 years old. What are the challenges that come with your age? Tell us.
You see, I told you it is the heart that actually propels you in life. When anybody offends you, it is always good to forgive. Because even in the Bible, Jesus said, when somebody slaps you, how many times? I read it in the Bible, then he said 7 times. It doesn't mean that you are, excuse me, you are a fool or a lunatic. But that means it was a proverbial word. Forgive, that's all, and bring peace. I like peace, always. And despite the fact that I fought in the war, after the war, I had a different view about life completely. So whoever wants to harm somebody is not my friend. I don't like even to harm an animal. Because of that, if you give me a knife to kill a fowl, I won't do it.
Because of what you experienced?
Because of the experience I passed through.
Okay, so what are the challenges also? You know, we haven't been 95, got into where you are.
Yes.
What are the challenges that come with your age?
A lot. Battalion, legion of problems. The problems keep on coming in legions, but the way you solve it, when it comes, go on your knees and pray to the Almighty God, because we haven't got the power. He has got the power, and he feels for us. He said in the Bible that those that are their weight, everything is on their shoulder. It is too much for them. Come to me, I will solve it for you. It was a very good saying. So always when there is a problem crops up, the best thing to do is to go on your knees and pray. I believe fervently in Jesus Christ. I have faith and confidence in him. Eventually he will solve the problem for you.
Thank you so much, ex-Ashitei Hammond.
Yeah.
Now let's begin your World War II diaries. You actually fought in that war at the age of 16.
Yeah.
Did you join because you wanted to join, or you were forced?
Age of 18.
At the age of 18. Okay. Were you forced into the war, or it was something that you wanted to do all along?
Pardon?
I'm asking that. Did you join the war per your own evolution?
Yes.
You were forced
Thank
into
you very
it?
much for your question. When I was at the senior school, Osu Presbyterian Senior School, whenever I saw these soldiers, always, they inspire me.
Okay.
So I decided that immediately I conclude my education, I would join the army. I finished 1942. Then 43, I joined the army. And you know where the police headquarters is situated now? It was our camp. I went through my technical training. There was no this thing those days that the area called this thing, I've forgotten the name. I went through all my technical training with flying colors.
Okay.
After the training, 43, I was posted to Takoradi, 3rd Advanced Base Workshops. And our officer commanding, OC, was Major Brunner. The 2 IC, the second in command, was Captain Chiplin. Then we had other officers, Lieutenant Booth, Lieutenant Richardson, and then later on Lieutenant Day also came. Those days, there was an instruction order from General Headquarters, Achimata. Ordinary drivers should not, drive the officers, but those who have gone on the training, special training, to drive the officer. So I was selected at the unit. I was selected to drive the officer.
Okay.
So I was the one driving the commanding officer.
Okay. So at what point did you leave the Gold Coast to Burma?
Good. Then one day, Major Brunner told me that the commander of all the Gold Coast workshops, Colonel Layton, would come. I'll go to all the mining areas with him. A couple of days later, he came. He turned up. Then we embarked on our journey to Prisia, Bogoso, Obuase, Takwa, all the mining areas. Then, when we concluded, he told me we would go to Axim at the fort. And because I was a mechanical man, the vehicle had a technical hitch on the way. Some part, there was 40 areas in the carburetor and other side. I managed to repair all. And those days, vehicles were so few, not like today. So sometimes it's difficult before once you see a vehicle will pass, hours on end. So I managed to repair this vehicle. On the way to Axim also, at a bushy area, the vehicle
developed another fault.
Again, I managed to repair it. And Colonel Layton was extremely happy the way and manner I managed to repair this thing. Else we would have, stranded on the way. After that, we headed towards Axim. And when we arrived at the fort, we slept there. The following day, we moved to our base at Takoradi. When we arrived, Colonel Layton was so happy with me, he told Major Brunner, our commanding officer, that Hammond actually did exceedingly well. So I want you to promote him.
Okay.
Being the colonel in charge of all the workshops, he asked our major to promote me. But I was extremely surprised. Instead of my promotion, I was drafted to go to India and Burma to fight in the war. Instead, I was shocked. Well, the military rule is that obey before complain. So I had nothing to say.
To comply.
10 of us were drafted from the unit to go to the war. Myself, Joseph Hammond, E.B. Okine, I have a retentive memory, so I remember all of them. Joseph Hammond, E.B. Okine, Kuranten. Then Crencer, Amonu, Anoba. Then Nefi, A.B. Mensah, Nunu, and Lomote. These 10 people we were dragged. So we all went to the harbor, Takoradi. We saw a very huge ship with 2 funnels, HMS Sakashia. And the troops on board, they were about 2,500 to approximately 3,000. Well, we also joined from Takoradi, November 1943. 2 days later, we sailed to Sierra Leone. 2 days, the 3rd day we arrived in Sierra Leone. They had a natural harbor. So we were there. We went on excursion, and it's a hilly place, Freetown, always rain. The following day, when we returned to the ship, the following morning, when we woke from under the deck, we saw so many ships. We were surprised. We didn't actually know where the ships came from. But we went there, Sierra Leone, with only 1 ship, HMS Sakashia. So an hour later, I saw a submarine leaving the natural harbor. Then about 30 minutes later, all the ships started blowing their siren. Boom, 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 boom. Then the whole ship started. Plenty of ships, normally we call it Armada. We started together with all. So the ships actually we left Sierra Leone with 21 ships.
Okay.
We didn't know where the ships came from. There were troops, soldiers on board. We continued.
Were they also Africans or?
Yeah, some Europeans
Okay.
and Africans, we don't know. We continued, and during the war, we had 2 planes, military planes. We had Spitfire fighters and then Hurricane fighters, which I know very well. Occasionally, they flew over the convoy, protecting our convoy. On the right-hand side, there was 2 destroyers, which I know very well. And then at the extreme end, cruiser, very big battleship, the same thing on the left-hand side. We continue, but intermittently, some of these planes would fly over the convoy to protecting it. And then they changed course. Boom, 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 all the ships, the 21 ships, then we changed course. We continue like that. So one day, we asked the officers, why can't we go straight, but rather zigzag course? They say, the German submarines, they run very fast. And if we are not careful and they overtake us, they will settle down and destroy all our ships with their torpedoes. You see, their submarines will destroy all of them. Oh, that was why we have been going zigzag course. We continue like that. When they explained, we were satisfied. So we continue until we reach Gibraltar, being a British base. All the 21 ships. The following morning, at dawn, all the 20 ships vanished.
Why was it so?
We didn't know where we went. They came in at Sierra Leone, unexpectedly, we didn't know. The same thing, they vanished into thin air at this place, Gibraltar. So it left our ship alone. So we entered into the Mediterranean Sea. We sailed until we arrived at Egypt, a port called Port Said. And this Port Said, from Port Said to Port Suez, 100 miles. The Suez Canal. We entered the Suez Canal, sailed. At the end of the day, the ship stopped. The following morning, all our troops on board, because, you know, we started from Ghana for quite a long time. So we all went into a landing craft, brought all of us to the seaside, the beach. We engaged in sports, some running, others boxing, so many disciplines, you know, the sports. from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the evening, all of us went back into our landing craft. We went back into our ship, HMS Acacia. We continue our journey from Suez Canal until we entered the Red Sea. The Red Sea is a different thing. It's quite like a river. And many people always think that when they say Red Sea, the sea is red. It is not.
What's the color?
It is the same color.
Okay.
Why? I will tell you why they mention
The
Red Sea. You know, during the olden days, King Pharaoh's time, the Egyptians, when Moses freed the Israelites, the Egyptians, King Pharaoh, troops chased the Israelis to capture them again. But at the beachside, seaside, they were trapped. So Moses raised his staff and the sea parted into two. I think we all know this history. So after the Israelis left, the Egyptian troops, they came, when they arrived at this same area, the sea area, the sea covered all of them. There were casualties and death because of bloodshed. Casualties and death, they say Red Sea.
Red Sea.
This is why they call it the Red Sea. But the color I was there is the same like the sea. But the main sea is rough with waves. But the Suez Canal, no, that area is calm like a river.
Okay, so ex-private Ashitei Hammond,
yes.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll now begin with Burma itself. What really happened? Welcome back. You're watching Legends of Our Time on GBC News and Ghana Television. On Legends of Our Time, we celebrate our heroes, and of course today we're having a discussion with one such legend, and his name is ex-private Ashitei Hammond. Okay, so ex-private, now take us to Burma.
Yeah.
What really happened at Burma in terms of the war and your experiences?
Thank you.
Share with us.
From the Suez Canal, we sailed through to Port Aden. Then 3 days later, fill our water and everything. Then we enter into the Indian Ocean. We travel about 5 days. The 6th day we arrive in Bombay. Bombay, the following day, a huge officer came with hairs all over the body and the face. Not knowing that about 6'5". That officer, not knowing he was going to be our brigade commander during the war in Burma, called Brigadier E.W. Weston. Now, he came, he assembled all the troops on board. He advised us, he welcomed us. When he left, few hours later, ambulances, 12 ambulances driven by Indian military guards, with 2 officers, 1 captain and 1 lieutenant, to evacuate sick people from on board. Some of our people fell sick on board the ship, so to evacuate them to hospital. Well, few yards from the ship, there was a train station there. So we went there, 6 o'clock sharp, and then we had our meals. We were asked to board the train. 6 o'clock, we started the journey. From 6 in the morning, we traveled, and then there was a big mountain. That was the first time I traveled on the tunnel. When we came out, we continued our journey till 8 o'clock in the night, approximately about between 6 to 800 miles. When the train stopped, finally, there were guides to escort us. It was pitch dark, and the place was called Den. About 5 miles to Pune city. So we had to walk with our guides. Because when you are not careful and you leave the troops and you get lost, nobody will see you again. Because we were strangers. But the guides were very careful. Escorted it 2 miles. So what we normally did, when you want to rest, you have to walk very fast in front of the soldier. Sit down.
And rest.
Rest. When they come up, then you
continue.
Get on. So we walk about 2 miles. Then we heard, at the end of the 2 miles, we heard somebody shouting. There was a camp. Somebody shouting, where are the go-go's? Where? We said, we're all here. Not knowing that these two people, Sergeant Okai and Corporal Colley, they were our instructors. So we were there. And then our camp was called Kumasi Company.
Okay.
But later on, we learned that there were other troops within the vicinity. The Nigerians, their company also, like my house to the Osu police station, the distance, it's called Sokoto Company. Sokoto Company, Nigeria. We our own Kumasi. They their own Sokoto Company. And then Sierra Leone and Gambian troops, the same distance, they also had their camp. It was called Battles Company. Normally we come to play football. We had our football park there. They all converge at our football park. We play, you see, against each other. Then we play our football. Sometimes we come to the war training. We call it maneuvers and so forth. The assault course, it was difficult. Anytime that there was an assault course, the war training, they trained the team so fearful that, so that when you go into the war, you won't fear. The same. And there was a long rope like this, tight. And then the bat, you will cross your leg, crossing very far. And there was a very big trench with barbed wires, broken bottles, everything in it. So when you look, you are tired, and you look inside, you will advise yourself.
And that's to continue.
Because when you drop into the barbed wires and the broken glasses, you are finished. So you try sweating, but you do it. At the end, immediately you land, another thing again to do. We pass on the tarpaulin and so forth. We had rigorous training there. Any time that they trained, there was ambulance standing by. If immediately somebody dies, the ambulance will convey him to the cemetery. But when you are seriously wounded, then you will end up at the hospital. It continued like that for just few months. Then it came to an end. We had to go to another training again. By those days, India, it was part of India. Now it's Bangladesh. We traveled through Calcutta to that place. It's called Khulna. But down south, few miles, there was Chittagong. These two places, but I was trained in Khulna. It's near Dhaka, their capital. Now, we had a rigorous training there also. We were there after our training. We had 2 divisions from West Africa. We had 81st Division, and the divisional commander was General Woolner. And we were the 82nd Division. The 81st, our troops are still using the insignia. You see a spider here on their shoulder. It's 81st Division. And then 2 crossfire on the yellow part is 82nd Division. And our divisional commander was General Stockwell. Then we had our brigade commander, the man that I said came to Bombay and welcomed us, a huge 6'5" with hairs all over the body, our brigade commander.
So when did the war itself start for you? And
43.
What were
actually, the war started 42 because the 81st Division went in first. They went there earlier. They had their training earlier, and then they went in first because actually, I must be frank with you, the war started from India. The Japanese conquered all the islands around Burma. And Burma being the main British base with their troops, everything, the Japanese invaded the place, chased the British out together with their troops to India. They followed them. Then when they crossed the borders, they seized some of the towns there at the border between India and Burma. They seized. So when our troops came, 42, 81st Division, we realized that if we don't push them out into Burma, the war will be one in India and one in Burma. So we decided, we established our bridgehead, all our supplies there. We fought them. It was a ferocious fighting.
Wow.
Then we were able to push them through Chiringa, the border, into Burma. They continued the fighting there. 81st Division. The arrangement was that they fight 6 months, they come back, we change them. We also will go in for 6 months. Then they come to rest in India, they go back. That was the arrangement. So we changed them, Burma town called Butidong. With 82nd Division, we changed them at Butidong. Then we took over the war. We continued to fight them until we arrived. There was a town, Arawadi River. So we changed them. The town was called Pakoko. When the Japanese realized that we were about to massacre them, they changed their mind. They went to the south. We followed them. And sometimes the fighting was so intense. The fighting was so intense that we solicit the help of the second light battery, artillery, to bombard their positions. The whole ground will be shaking. And our Air Force bombed them also. And sometimes they retaliate. Anytime that this thing, they will also bomb us. When the fighting subsides a little, everybody dig trenches. We were in our trench because when you lie on the empty ground, snipers on the tree, they'll shoot you, they'll kill you. So the moment we arrive for Nova, we start digging our trenches to protect ourselves.
As a shield for you. Okay. So we can take our break at this point and then we'll continue.
Yeah.
So, ex-Private Ashitei Hammond, you know, we've heard a lot about war in terms of even food.
Yes.
I mean, the ability to get food to eat on the war front, that you even, I mean, ate animals like snakes and others, I mean, on the battlefield. How true are those stories?
The frogs and all that. You know, so we fought these people. The Japanese. And sometimes the most fearful thing is when somebody is killed and nobody saw the person, sometimes you see the dead body floating on the water, the Arawadi water. Dead bodies float on it. But the same water, no water in the world, is the one we drink. So our water bottle, they put chemical like salt. We could not drink it. You just gargle and put it off. Push it. Now we continue to do it, and always we carry plenty of socks, because when we cross the river like that, we continue fighting for 3 or 4 days, and the same socks and the water in your shoes. So we carry plenty of socks. Immediately fighting subside, you lose your shoes. One time, that bad water, you wash your feet one time, you put another sock. Very stinky. You throw it away, wear another sock. Release it. Because the moment the whistle goes,
you have to move.
You have to move. And when your brother is sitting with you, conversing or eating even, and the whistle goes, and straight away there was a bullet, pow, shot, and killed him. You look at him, you move on. You have no right to weep. Or otherwise you demoralize the other soldiers.
You don't even bury him.
You don't think of that. It's not your business. It's for the Red Cross, the ambulance people. When we were fighting, then they collect the wounded, they treat them, and the dead ones, they bury them. Sometimes about 50 people in one hole. You put this thing, lime. We call it kalo, lime. We cover them, pray, and then cover all of them. No time. We move.
Was there a point that you got yourself hit? Were you hit by a stray bullet or something?
No. What happened? Me, my eye, there was trouble. When I mentioned Pakoko, then we chased the Japanese to a riverside. We fought alongside of the river. We fought a broad terrain, many people, sections. Signal Regiment fought at the Apia, the seaside. We fought near the Arawadi River to Rangoon, the capital. Now, we crossed Mabu, the town, the river town, and we used rubber dinghies, 6 people in it. And when we crossed the river, but they made a mistake. The 6 men, instead of maneuvering quickly to land, they delayed. So they realized that they were drifting to enemy territory. And when the enemies, they captured them, if your mother don't burn you at all, I think you thank your God. The treatment that you receive, because we always swore, when our unit, a battalion is 1,000 men, and when they capture you, you have to sacrifice for the whole troop. Because they will mention your number and then your unit. Finish. They will force you to tell them the strength of your soldiers and their position.
Yeah.
If you do, you reveal. They will be there, they will pounce on them and kill all of them. And kill all of them. So you have to sacrifice. They will kill you, torture you. But it means you alone will save the 1,000 men. This is the order, you see, we normally do. And we continued the fighting until after the cross, we saw our 6 men in the water going, watch them away.
Like that?
All of them, because they are rubber dinghy capsized. Very pathetic. Our own brothers. I know one young man from Osu here. My place.
It was part of it.
I knew when we were young. Ayi, then he died there. The river took him. From there, we continued the fighting. Sometimes the fighting was so intense and no food. And you see, until we rely on our biscuit and corned beef. Until plane we drop parachute, our food and ammunition for us. Sometimes we'll be in our trench. You have nowhere to urinate because if you are not careful and you raise yourself, this thing is there during the fighting. Snipers in the trees, they will shoot you and kill you. So we're always careful. Even when going a footpath, all the trees, snakes also hang around. So always we carry machete, our cutlass is big, very big. The moment it shows you, you cut the head one time, you kill it. And there were spies, this thing also in the tree. This is snipers. Very, very serious thing. We continue like that. Then we reach a point, a town called Kindongi. Then the officers, they realized that my eye was protruding, coming out from a socket. My eye. I was shocked myself. This left eye coming out. They saw from the socket. So they saw it was serious. And 2 wounded people. There was a Piper plane, small plane, carry about 2-3 people, or 4. We went to India. They flew us to India, Madras, 35 General Hospital in India. Then we were there, but there was no well-equipped eye section there. So we were transported by ambulance train with other wounded soldiers. Kola, Vela, Bangalore, Kolhapur, and then Pune City. And from Pune City, 10 miles away, big hospital. As far back as 1943, there were 6 operation theaters for whites, Indian troops, blacks, all mixed. I was there when actually my doctor was called Lieutenant Crockett. But the commanding officer of the whole thing, Colonel Hollingsworth, he was in charge of the whole big hospital, 40th military hospital. Then, actually, he mentioned in my original discharge book that a contaminated blood. That means somebody was shot, and I thought the person wounded.
And wiped your eyes with it.
The wounded to hide the person under a bush for snipers not to kill him. Then we found our safety place too. But normally when going, we spread. You don't group. When you group and a grenade or anything lands there, all of you will die. So one here, one here, one. We keep moving forward with our officers. You see. Then immediately this thing happened. They sent me to this thing, 40th General Hospital. I was there. So Lieutenant Crocker said contaminated blood. And the disease was called palytitis and choroiditis.
Again?
Palytitis and choroiditis. Okay. It was written in my discharge book. You see, my discharge book, a medical term of the disease. Yes.
So finally they solved the problem for you?
Yeah, they cured me. And they gave me category C, which actually I would have gone back to the fighting area again in Burma. But I was extremely lucky. At that time, immediately the war came to an end in May 1945. So that prevented me from going back to the war again.
So you had to come home?
Not immediately. There were other troops too. Other wounded people came and joined us there from the war. Then we went to Burma with HMS Acacia. You remember, the ship. Now, on our way back, HMS Royce we used. And we were the first troops to arrive 1945 December in Gold Coast. We were the first troops. With 3 military bands, people marching, people ask you about Kojo or Mensa, you say, I couldn't make it. They would burst into tears. The place became like a mortuary. Many people weeping because when you ask of your family member, we left lots of them.
So you know how many people did we lose?
One of my best friends, called Francis, maybe God knew he was going to die on the way in the ship.
Why?
He had the white cooks and different their food with chicken and all these so many food. You see, he will bring them, bring it to us to eat. So he had sumptuous food in the gallery there. Yes, the European kitchen. He was the first among us to die in the war. Francis, my best friend, he died there. Well, I also ended here, and then we returned to, when we arrived December 45, at Takrady. These people, Takrady, the governor of the Gold Coast was called Governor Lambens. When we arrived, Governor Lambens came, Arakan Barracks, Takrady, to congratulate us. When he reached me, I was so young. He patted my head. My son, congratulations, you defended the British Empire and the Gold Coast.
How old were you then?
It was then 21 years.
You were 21 years.
I was 21. Then, immediately, 46, we were all discharged.
Okay.
We were asked, those who wanted to continue in the army, but because of our suffering, we didn't want to do it again. We all wanted to come to civil life. Okay, so we continued. We went home.
Okay, let's take another break, and when we come back, we'll begin the discussion on your arrival.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you're still watching Legends of Our Time on GBC News and GTV. We'll take another break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Please don't go away. And so the program is Legends of Our Time on GBC News and Ghana Television. My name is Gifty AJ, and my guest for today is ex-private Ashitei Hammond. He is a World War II veteran. Okay, so ex-Ashitei Hammond, let's come to one of the highlights of your legacy and that has to do with the 28th February 1948 Christiansborg Castle Road shooting incident. You were part of that team that wanted to present a petition to the governor. Tell us exactly what happened on that particular day, because you are currently the only survivor, survivor of that group.
Very good.
Tell us what really happened on
46,
that day.
We were promised heaven, that when we return, they'll give us pension, everything, increment and everything. But from 46 to 48, they didn't do it. They neglected us. Some of our soldiers even back in the street. Deplorable condition. So we decided that if you don't ask, they won't give you. When we came, our general secretary was Tamaklo, but a grown-up man. Later on, his deputy was James Owusu, so he took over from him. Under this period, you know the Independence Square, there was a labor office under the trees. We planned that how to go about this. We write our petition, we send it to Governor Christie. Alan Ben's gone. Gerald Christie was there. So that fateful day, Sajajete was the one holding our petition, our leader. We embarked on this walk from Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. Those days there was just an ordinary park. 24 February, Independence. These schools go there for sports. Okay. But now it's Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. We walked there 8:30. That's why we wanted to reach the castle before 12, the sun. We walked slowly, 210 of us. So we arranged few vehicles that we move. When we arrived at the crossroads, we saw uneducated policemen. We call them Gento. You see, Gento means illiterates. With their officer, British officer, Superintendent Embry, in charge. They said they won't allow us to go to the castle. We said, why? After all, we want to present our petition to the governor to look into our deplorable condition. We spoke, this man was highly impervious to reason. He didn't agree. Okay, we asked him, let us select 10 men to go with Sajajete to the castle. This man was still adamant. So we scaled down the number from 10 to 5. It still continued. We refused. Instead of negotiating with us, he asked, well, later on we learned that the sergeant's name was Stokosi. He asked him to shoot. He gave him the order 3 times. The man didn't bother at all. Well, Koko said, why should he kill his brothers? We just arrived from... No. He was highly peeved, highly annoyed. So he grabbed the gun. The first man that he shot was Udate Lamte at the front line. You know, that day, Atipo and Sajajete, they were, during the Burma fighting, they were at the same unit. Okay. So they were friends. So this one, after shooting Ajete, when he shot Udate Lamte, I saw Atipo. I was standing 7 feet behind Sajajete. Then he moved forward. He said, oh, but he made it like this. Oh, but we are unharmed. We have no arms. Why should you kill? Then he shot him too.
And the second person.
That actually provoked Sajajete a lot. And he moved to grab him with the gun. If that bullet had missed Sajajete, it would have landed on me.
Because you were behind him.
I was standing behind him, just 7 feet. I saw when he raised the gun. But fortunately, God wants me to live. To preserve my life, to tell the nation actually what happened.
What really happened.
So, Sajajete, he fell down. Then I saw all of them dead before my eyes. Oh!
What happened to the rest of the team?
Listen, we didn't expect that to happen from the inception. So when this thing happened, there was total confusion there. Some few of our men went to Osu Township. But 80% of us went to Accra, post office. There was a roundabout in front of the post office those days. Any white man we saw with a car coming, we'll stop him. We won't kill him, we will drag him, throw him away, turn the car upside down, and put fire in it.
And that began the independence struggle.
That started the route, a route that is more than comprehension. I'm telling you. beyond our mind. I'm telling you, for 3 weeks. And the population of the Gold Coast were extremely annoyed that our boys went to fight for you people. Instead of compensating them, then you massacre them. So the population also joined. They also started breaking stores and looting. It was a fearful sight. Many people around dead. Because the police prevented people from looting the stores. They started shooting. Until Nigerian troops were brought in to quell the riot, they failed.
In Ghana?
Yes. It was a serious fight. And you know, when we arrived, we were discharged for disease. Some of our soldiers went home. Some went to Kumasi, some Koforidua. When they heard that they have massacred their colleagues here, it's part of another route there.
It became a nationwide thing.
Nationwide. Everywhere. Even my aunt told me that this thing, Krobo, Udumasi side, they all locked their stores because it was terrible. For 3 weeks, fire and death. Until this queen's father, George VI, when it subsided at the end of the 3 weeks, he sent a delegation under the chairmanship of Mr. Watson. They came to look into the cause why Sajajete group were killed. That's part of the war. One thing I want to tell actually is that when there is a bell and you don't use an iron to hit the bell, will there be any sound?
No.
There won't be sound. The bell will be hanging there quietly. The moment you touch it, this same thing happened. Because we were killed. So actually, they look into the whole thing and see that our constitution, we have gone ahead more than the constitution. We have gone ahead more than the constitution. Then more ahead, more than the constitution. So the constitution was changed. That paved the way for Dr. Nkrumah, 1951. And the CPP won the election. And he formed a first cabinet in the Gold Coast. 3 ex-official ministers. They were all 10. The Whites, Salloway was the colonial secretary, Armitage, and then finance, then Brannigan for judiciary. These were 3 whites. And then 6 blacks, Bedema, Bochio, Achikechile Hereford, this one, Tommy Hotomels, Dr. Ansakwe, and then Brahma. To add up to the 3, making 9. Then Kwame Nkrumah 10, being the leader of government business. First, south of the Sahara.
I'm curious, what exactly was in that petition that you wanted to give to the governor?
To look, because they promised us, before our people came, the commander-in-chief, General Slim, later he was promoted field marshal, he promised that they will give us pension. All the benefits that the whites were enjoying. But 46 to 48, they didn't do it. So we advised ourselves, if the mountains will not go to Muhammad have to go to the mountains.
And that was what you did.
Exactly.
Okay. We are pressed for time, but let's look at this honorary or this invitation by the Queen of England last year, and also the award from Guba to actually celebrate you for what you've done for this country. Let's begin with Guba. How did it start for you?
The Guba Award, I was there. The British High Commissioner wrote to me that I have been selected. Other veterans there, but I was selected to represent all of them in the Gold Coast, in Ghana. So I went, and President Rawlings was asked by the British High Commission and the organizer to fly there to Britain and hand over the award to me, which he did.
Okay.
He was so extremely happy. Well, he knew me. So he went there and handed over this.
Presented the
so
award.
When we came back to Ghana, President Rawlings invited me. I went there with officers. I was happy. Then also President Akufo-Addo also invited me to the this thing, Silver Jubilee. I went there also. And it's on my phone here. You see me and President Akufo-Addo standing, and then...
Yeah, you were part of the program.
Okay. You see, part of this thing. President Akufo-Addo also
honored you.
Yes, honored me. President Akufo-Addo.
So finally, the Queen also invited you to the UK.
President Akufo-Addo.
That's nice.
And me standing.
Okay.
You
that's
can
nice.
show it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
President Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
Yes.
So finally, the Queen also
invited me,
and
I went. I represented the 54 Commonwealth, the whole Commonwealth nations, and Africa. I represented because it was continental affair. So some came from Australia, Canada, and other places, and I was the one in charge of.
So you met the Queen in person.
Then he said, Hammond, you are a hero.
And how did you feel at that point?
As if I was walking on the clouds. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
Because his grandson also, Prince Harry, all the 54 countries, they gathered behind me. Their representatives, they all came. And there was a garden, big garden, and every name, their names were there. Oh, they represented their country. I saw the Australia, those that came from Australia, a lady behind me, we had a chat and so forth. They all came. And Canada, they all came. And Jamaica, they also, all of them, I represented all. So when the Prince Harry came out from the cathedral, he came straight to me.
And what did he say?
With one general. Then he congratulated me. Being a soldier too, who had been to Afghanistan, he had interest in me so much. Then he asked me, Joseph, what was your division? I said, it's a 2nd Division, Royal West Africa Frontier Force. Part of the 14th British Army. He said, I knew it. he told me. Okay. Then we conversed. Because according to report, I was the one that it took so long time to converse with me. When we concluded immediately, he was so happy. Then he introduced me to the wife. And the wife shook hands with him. And I said, look, Madam, Ghanaians love you so much because when they heard that you were going to marry the Prince Harry, they were extremely happy. Newspapers and TV said, oh, I'm so happy. God bless you people in Ghana. This is what she said. And
so, because of that program, you dominated almost the headline of almost every newspaper in that country.
Also, you will see all here. You see the people, crowd of people. Whenever I step from a car, all the old ladies, their husband went to the war and died there. Their medals, the women put it across. If I have a son and I die, my son will take my medals, but he will use it on the right. The old ladies who did it. So when I step from the car, hey, you are a hero, you are a hero, you are a star, you are a star. The old women, you know them.
So ex-Private Hammond.
So Jesus, what Jesus said, it is true. Nobody regards a prophet in his hometown. It's in the Bible. Outside, rather, they regard him. When I see sometimes how people, important people, they come around me speaking and they were so happy. I said, look, back where in Ghana,
it's not like that.
It's nothing.
But today you are a fulfilled person.
Yes. Yes. Today I'm fighting another battle.
And which battle?
Coronavirus.
That's the new project.
Yes, the new project. I believe this one is more dangerous than the war.
The physical war.
Yeah, physical war. We went to Burma and you see your enemies, you can, your strategy, how to defeat him. But this war is invisible.
So what's your aim or
Coronavirus
your
is invisible. So when Colonel Moore did it in Britain, I said, why not? We're all veterans. I have to do it for Africa too. So we started. And they were surprised. People thought that I won't be able to do it at my age of 95 years. But God being so good, Jesus loves me a lot. He said,
So what is the
I will
total
be
distance?
with you on the march.
What's the total distance you are targeting to
I'm
walk?
targeting now every day 2 miles.
2 miles
for
a
7
day.
days.
For 7 days. So that's 14 miles.
14 miles.
Okay. And how much are you hoping to generate from this
I
project?
requested to help the frontline doctors and nurses and everybody involved in the sickness.
Even the media.
The media, the whole world, the whole Africa. So I've appealed to our president all over Africa to contribute massively and help. Because it's not one person's sickness. It's a worldwide.
How much have you raised?
So I raised actually $600,000.
That's what you're targeting?
They're targeting.
But how much have you been able to generate?
500,000 pounds.
Okay.
And we are hoping. They are contributing.
Okay.
We are hoping.
Okay.
But one secret I wanted to tell you. They asked me, Mr. Bediakum, they all asked me, you want to finish the 14 miles? Okay, on Monday. I said, well, I want to continue until I reach 30 miles,
okay,
which will actually land me in the Guinness Book. You know the Guinness Book?
Yeah, Guinness Book of Records.
It will make me famous all over the world.
Okay.
Yes, and it's nothing. I will continue to do it. By doing so, more money will generate. Yeah, it will generate more money.
You know, you have to go, but let me quickly ask you this question before we wrap up. So, after fighting in this critical war, the Second World War, what's your impression about wars in general?
Good. You have asked a very intelligent question. What I'm going to ask everybody in our country here, whoever will ask you to participate in a march, trouble that will generate hostilities, problems, to result in a war or fighting, don't go.
Why?
Stay in your room. All the big men, they send their children to abroad. It is you who will die. Don't go. They want to use you. They have their money. They'll give to you. Then they ask you to go and fight. Now we are hungry. Everybody is hungry. There's no money. There's no job. Then you go and risk your life. They send all their children. They are in Europe now, learning. Then they will ask you, if you go, then you are a lunatic. Me, I won't go. You sit quietly. To participate, to do what? At all.
Wars are no good.
It is always good to bring peace. Peace brings development to a nation. It will upset the whole structure of our advance in the country. I'm advising all the young men and the young ladies, never fight. Keep your peace. Peace is the best for the world.
Ex-Private Ashitei Hammond, how would you want us to remember you? Many years to come. I know you crossed 100 and even more. But
then that day you come and celebrate.
Sure.
I have 5 years to go.
And more.
5 years to go there. I'm 100 years. God is a loving God. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If you love Jesus and Jesus loves you, His grace, He pushes you gradually. But we are all sinners. I'm not perfect. As a human being, I'm not perfect. I commit errors. But because He loves me, He keeps pushing me.
So how should we remember you?
One thing I want them to do, Sergeant JT Group, I want the government to honor us. Why I'm saying this, when we were 43, 44 in India, they were fighting for their independence also. 47, when they obtained their independence, Jawaharlal, their prime minister, honored all their heroes.
But you are fortunate. Even the Queen of England has honored you.
I know, but still, this one is strictly about our fighting. Listen, this thing, Malaysia, President Mohammed also, those that tried there, he honored them. But when it came to the term of Ghana, look at where Sergeant Jete is buried, at Labadi. the cemetery, refuse dump there. Why? The military cemetery is there. Why not send him there? Exhume. So I asked President Akufo-Addo that I'm begging him to exhume their bodies and rebury it at the military cemetery. Fence it for posterity. Children born, when they come, they know these people lay down their life for this nation. So the other day, I lectured at 28 February Secondary School. I told the teachers to inculcate patriotism into our youth. It's lacking now. Nobody wants to sacrifice again because they know Sergeant matter that we have not been honored. Every year they will go and march and so forth. For what? What are they doing?
Thank you. You have a really retentive memory, and I learned that you know almost the capital of every country.
Yes, I have a retentive memory.
Let's take some.
God has helped me. A lot of these things. There's no country, sovereign country in the world that I don't know the capital.
Okay, so
every
let's go.
Capital.
So
you test me.
Okay. Let's start with Ghana.
Ghana, it's Accra.
Accra, Nigeria.
Abuja.
Sierra Leone.
Freetown.
The Gambia.
Banjul.
Cameroon.
Cameroon. Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Yaoundé.
Okay. Australia.
Australia. Canberra.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Wellington.
Okay. Which other country should I ask you? Thank you so much.
Venezuela. Caracas is Venezuela.
India.
New Delhi.
Pakistan.
Islamabad.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so the program has been Legends of Our Time on GBC News and Ghana Television. My guest for today has been ex-private Ashitei Hammond, a war veteran. My name is Gifty J. Thank you so much for watching. We'll come your way same time, God willing, next week. Until then, bye-bye.